Hello, I'd like to talk today about the people skills. People skills is the ability that we have to relate with other people, like having a soft skill, like being able to make good friends. And this is a very important skill because it helps us to connect with people, get ahead in life, like, for example, negotiate a promotion or make more friends or have a good relationship, even romantically, professionally, and in all aspects of our lives. So I wanted to explain to you something that, for example, this person here wrote a book about people skills. Let me show you. So her name is Vanessa Van Edwards, and she made a poll, a research, to see what people think about these kind of skills. So you have to answer this question. I believe the most important factor in career success is, or you have to opt for technical skills or people skills. Technical skills is like mathematics, how to make counts, how to do calculations for an engineer, right? And people skills is how you're gonna sell your skill, how you're gonna interact with other people, right? So 96% of people believe that people skills is the one that puts you ahead. I'm not saying that technical skills is not important, right? But if you have a if you have a personal people skills, you might be able to sell your work much easier, faster, get a high payment for that. For example, if I'm going to start this presentation, if I was there in person, walking to the stage, it would be very highly recommendable for me to, for example, enter in the stage in a high confidence mode. And by that, what I mean is like walking with confidence. Look with the audience, try to make eye contact with people. Like, for example, if I look at you, looking at you, specifically making eye contact with you, so the chances that you like me as a speaker would be much higher. For example, if I enter in the state smiling, looking at people smiling, if my hands, for example, not hiding my hands supposed to be palms up, showing my hands. This is a very friendly gesture. So I'll be more held up like a friendly people. But for example, if I walk in the stage with my hands hiding from you, or talking, giving a speech, if my hands are hiding, your subconscious mind will be thinking, why is he hiding his hand? So is he hiding something? So you'll be kind of a distracted even in an unconscious level. But when you're hiding your palms, when you're showing your palms and like open palms, it means you're friendly. But for example, even if I change my attitude, for example, if I put my palms down, now I become a little bit less friendly. If I point at you, I become more aggressive. For example, if I pointed at you and said, turn off the lights, it's kind of an order. I'm not asking you, I'm kind of ordering you to turn off the light. So the things that we do with our body language, it's show the other people how we show ourselves more friendly or more aggressive, and they tend to like us more or less. There's also an experiment that I like to just remember here. They put a teacher, and they are both knowledgeable of what they're teaching, and one of them is kind of displaying those kind of attributes like making eye contact, smiling, more confident, and the other doesn't was not doing those kind of things. So the teacher who was displaying those people skills are rated more knowledgeable. So it has nothing to do with knowledge, but they are judged more knowledgeable because of this. And this is why 96% of people think that if you have people skills, this would be more important for your career than having a technical skills. Okay, so let's touch in the subject here and explain a little bit more in what way we can have a benefit of being able to display people skills or have people skills in our interactions in our daily life. This is from her book, okay? Van Edwards said. In her book, he described people skills as the social lubricant of life. When you understand the law of the human behavior, everything goes more smoothly. For example, in the professional arena, you will know how to negotiate a raise, connect with colleagues, build a rapport at networking events, and nail your elevator pitch. So sometimes professionally, contacts is much important, right? You cannot get a maybe business if you don't have too much contacts or somebody who can help you. So let's see the other two subjects. In the arena of the social, right? You will make unforgettable first impressions, reduce relationships drama, enjoy stronger and more supportive friendships, and get along with everyone you meet. In her book, she kind of relate an example when she gave a speech trying to sell herself to get a client. And 2 years later, she was able to meet the same client, and the client did not even remember her because she was very poor in people skills. And this is why she's kind of become obsessed with this, tried to study, and nowadays she has a kind of her profession is around giving this kind of knowledge to other people. And then when she meet this guy 2 years later and give her another speech, she was completely different. But the first one, when she gave it, she didn't have the confidence. The way she acted did not make a good first impression. And the third one would be romantically. You will impress your dates, deepen your relationship, flirt authentically, and prevent partner miscommunication. The bottom line is there is a science to winning friends and influencing people, and learning it will completely change the way you interact. Some people think the people skill is kind of a way to manipulating people, but I don't think so, because when you have a better relationship, it's going to be better for you and for the other person, right? You're not manipulating, or there's understanding them better. So part of the people skills is also listening better, right? When you feel heard, it's a completely different when you're not feeling heard. You're talking to the walls. When not, the other person is not hearing you. But when you feel heard, it's a much better connection that you can make with other person. And for example, if you have those kind of good feelings when you're doing negotiation, how do you think the other people will be much more likely to buy your product or to hire services, right? He will be happy because he's gonna feel heard. He's gonna feel like I'm getting a service for somebody that kind of uh, cares for me, right? And you feel better because you're selling your service, right? You're getting more business. You're doing a better job. And this is kind of the importance of having people skills. So you can apply this actually in all phases or parts or anything in your life. You can do it in your profession, at home, with your friends, with anybody, right? So the bottom line is there is a science to winning friends and influencing people, and learning will completely change the way you interact. So I just put it here again, so it's a very important thing, right? So I'm now going to talk to you about an experiment. In this experiment, they measure their level of cortisol and testosterone. These are the two kind of hormones that we have in our body. So, and they did this before power posing. I'm going to talk about what it is power posing. So cortisol is called to be the stress hormone. We say this is a bad hormone, right? No one wants to be stressed. And testosterone is the kind of the good hormone. So it is called also the performance hormone. It's going to make us feel better. It's going to make us to perform better. So what it is lower power? Lower power is when your body is contracted, when your head is down or bowed like here, right? Shoulders is roll, like you kind of feel like this, head is bowed. You take less space, so you feel like a lower power position, right? So this is our kind of illustrations. For example, when you're holding your phone like this, for example, people are kind of waiting in the waiting room or waiting for the appointment, or waiting for the job interview, right? So they're be there like looking their phone. When you're doing this, you're kind of holding a lower power position. And also, this is a tip that, for example, when you go for a job interview, if you feel more confident, your chances of getting hired is much high, of getting hired by the company is much higher. So it's not a good advice to be looking at your phone because you're holding a lower power position. And this is experiment is going to tell us that if you have a power posing position, you're going to feel more confident. You make better impression in the other people. So it will be an advice, for example, if you go for a job interview, if you're holding a newspaper, like open a newspaper, like in the open position, taking more space, like open the newspaper like this, you feel much more confident. So let's see what it is now, the power posing position. So power posing position is called to be more expensive. It is like when you're claiming territory. So heads high, arms loose, shoulder back, chest out. For example, if you're taking a newspaper and open like this, or reading in the waiting room while you're waiting for the job interview, you're holding a high power position, right? So here are some illustration. This is when people are taking more space like this, or for example, sitting like this in the chair, or more expensive. So you're taking more space, you look more confident. And in fact, when you look more confident because of your body language, you start to feeling yourself a little bit more confident. And it is what the experiment is going to show. Let's go and understand the experiment, what it is about. So power posing position changes the level of the hormones, increasing the testosterone, and also lower powering decrease the testosterone. So the experiment would be like this. The people kind of measure the hormone of two groups of people. For example, they take their saliva and go to the lab and measure the hormones of the testosterone hormone and also the cortisol hormone. In this case here, we are seeing the graph that is about testosterone change. People who hold the power posing position have an increase in the testosterone and a decrease in the cortisol. So they have an increase in the good hormone who makes them perform better, and a decrease in the bad hormone who makes them perform a little bit worse. So power posing changes the level of the hormones, increasing the testosterone and decreasing the cortisol. So in the other case, providing a feedback loop. So what I'm saying here, for example, this now is the cortisol, right? Cortisol, remember, is the bad hormone. For example, if you make a power posing position, your cortisol is going to decrease. So here it is, high power, decrease cortisol, low power, increase cortisol. So if you make a low power position, you're increasing your stress hormone and you decrease your good hormone, your testosterone. And the other one that I was showing you is the opposite. If you make a power posing position, you increase your good hormone, who make you perform better, and you decrease the stress hormone. So this is we call the feedback loop. When we act like confident, the body produces the very hormone who makes us feel more confident. The same thing happens when the lower power pose. The body produces the hormone who makes us feel worse. For example, even though you're in a bad state, like not feeling very confident, when you act like you're feeling more confident, your own body starts to producing the very hormone who's gonna make you feel better. So this is called the one action enforce the other, and this is we call the feedback loop. So we make the action, the power posing position, and that has the effect of making you feel a little bit more confident. And this is gonna be like a virtuous cycle, a good cycle, right? Even though later other works could not replicate the same results, shaking the credibility of the power posing effects, it is still undeniable that the confidence and people skill could put you ahead in life. What I'm saying is there's this study. So the study shows that if you do this kind of a behavior, like making a power posing position 5 minutes before going to a job interview, you have a higher chance to be hired because you're going to be acting more confident. So there are other places, university, who try to replicate the study, and they could not find the same results. So this is kind of an issue of credibility. Does it really work or does not work? But for example, if you have interaction with people who are more confident, you feel better. You're more inclined to buy from them. You're more inclined to hire them for whatever you wanted to buy or have a service from them. So it's undeniable that the confidence and people skill could put you ahead in life in many aspects. So even though it's kind of a, you can say, well, it is a work or not, it's kind of a worth a shot. So because of that, I try to do something with my students. I'm here in China almost 2 years teaching in the university, and I'm going to the fifth university. I'm going to be transferred to Zhejiang, and in all the places, all the classes that I go, I kind of, even though if I'm teaching something different, because I'm teaching, they're asking me to teach something different every different place that I go. So I already been teaching finance, business, professional and personal development, but I put some of those subjects in my class because they could be applied in every aspect of their life, like I was explaining before. So I kind of propose a challenge to my students, and the challenge called Power Posing Challenge. So based on the possibility that this kind of behavior could improve our confidence, I start proposing the following challenge to my students in China. The first time it was in Zhuzhou. So Zhuzhou was my second place, and I asked my student to do this. And the second time was in Huzhou. Now I'm going to Zhejiang. I want to do the same thing to my students there because this is something they can benefit from it, right? So I call this power posing challenge. And you might find this, I am not the only one who is doing this. You can look in the internet to find more people like playing with this kind of thing. So the power posing challenge consists in taking 3 pictures with the strangers in the power posing posture. Remember, power posing posture will be something like this, taking more space. I could not ask you, in the case of my students, to do something that I wasn't willing to do myself first. So before I go to the class and propose to them that they should do this challenge, I have to do it myself. And I took pictures with strangers doing this power posing and prepare PowerPoint like I'm doing here in the presentation. And I show my students, see, I'm doing this. So let me show those pictures now. So the first time I proposed this challenge, I was in Zhuzhou. Here is in the map, right? I was in Changsha first, and then I was transferred to Zhuzhou, and here I did the first time. For example, I went to the square. They have a statue here. This is a statue behind us. This is a statue of the Shenong Emperor. And I found these people there. I went and talked to them and explained that I was a teacher. The hard thing is that not everyone speaks English here in China. So sometimes people say no because they are not understanding me. But usually young people has more chances of probably to speak good English. So I went here. There also, because this part is very close to the university, so we find a lot of students there. So I explained that I was a teacher, and this is my uniform. I even have my name embroidered here. There's my Gamero, right? My name here. And I explained to them this is my project for my students. I wanted to do it first so I can show them and explain what is this thing about the power posing pictures. And here we are in the power posing, and somebody take a picture from us, right? And this is another guy behind the same statue there. And I did this. I took several pictures. This is in the shopping mall. I remember that day was raining, so I went out several times to do this. And I took a lot of pictures with people who are willing to do this power posing position. And then I prepare a presentation, got back to my classes and said to them, well, I'm going to propose a challenge. And I explained to my students what it is all about. So let me keep going with this. So the next time I was in Huzhou, I also went out in Huzhou to take pictures with strangers. So I prepared another presentation to propose the same challenge to my students in Huzhou. So let me tell the story of what happened in Huzhou. So this is the police station. The day I went there, because every time I'm being transferred, I need to work on my papers, get a new residency for the province that I was in. So I was there, and I have the idea of starting asking people to take pictures in the power posing position for my project that I would need to be showing class. And I had a bad idea of asking people in the police station. So for a foreigner to ask that in police station is not very wise. So people there said no, and then I realized that was not a good place for me to asking people or for a foreigner to start taking pictures there. So as you can see near from the police station, there is this big park here, and in the top of the mountain we have this touristic attraction here. So I started, well, I'm going to visit there. So I came in this place, and this is the entrance here, and I saw a couple of people here, or ladies talking to each other, and I went there and I explained the same thing, what it is a power posing position, and I need to take pictures for my project, and they said no. So this was my second no, and in the same day, one after the other. And then I saw a lot of people start walking towards the tower, and it was about 60 students and a group of students. So I went there. I thought, well, they are students. They're more likely to understand what I'm doing. They're more likely to say yes. So I explained to them what I was doing, and I also said no. So a group of people, the students also said no. So the thing is, it was my third attempt, 3 no's in a row. Why am I telling you this story that I received no? So let me explain to you. Okay, this is when I get back from the tower. But the thing is, my students usually think that's easier for me to get someone to say yes when I ask this kind of thing in the streets, because they think that I'm a foreigner. Somehow people are kind of more friendly to a foreigner, and it's easy for me to get a yes. But the thing is not really true, right? Because I get some rejection as well. So I remember that I was going to the tower and I couldn't get somebody to say yes like I did it before, right? So when I was going back, I also saw the same students. They're still going up. They're going a little bit slower than me. So I went back there. I went on top there, take some picture. I was coming back, and then when I were crossing each other, I was going down and they're going up. I tell them again, well, this is your last chance. Do you want to take a picture with me or not? And then from those 60 students, 2 of them agree. So I take this picture, and then I told the same story to my students. But somehow it seems that they don't believe it as as I received no as I was telling. So what I did is something I'm gonna show you in a minute. Sometimes I get an objections from my students when I pose a challenge to them. They say it's easier for me to do that because I'm a foreigner in China. It's hardly people would reject me when I approach them. This is a nonsense, and I did even record a video that I put in YouTube for me of me getting some rejections. So what I'm trying to say is this is a math number. For example, if somebody say no to me, I know if I keep trying, somebody will say yes. This is a normal thing. So everyone gets rejected. The secret is to keep doing it. And when I started approaching people, I feel in the beginning when I was here in China, because I don't speak Chinese at all. So sometimes people don't understand me. The first few experience was not so good. And the thing is that you very easy get discouraged. So I thought, oh, well, this is not working. So when people feel like that, they stop trying. But if you keep trying, maybe you get a yes. And then when you get a yes, you feel good, right? Because you're not being rejected. Somebody was nice. And perhaps you even can make some friends out of this. And then I very soon realized that this is how it works. Everyone gets rejections in life. So this is a normal thing. And I needed to show my students if they persist in doing it, they will get better. And not only get better in approaching people, what it works, the way you talk or the way you behave in front of them while asking them, you get a better chances for you to be successful. So I end up doing this video to show my students alive that I also get a rejection, but even though I do not stop trying. And this is how I end up making so much friends in China. And then this has become my second nature, because the more you do it, the better you become, right? So I started making friends, have a lot of them in my contact in WeChat. So I'm going to show you here a little part of the video. Okay, let's go here. So before I show the video, let me go over with this last slide here. The students who report on that challenge end up having fun. The thing is, I propose the challenge, and then we have a group of WeChat in our classes, and I ask them, well, you take a picture and then you post in the WeChat group. And I end up realizing that not many students took the challenge. So they feel like, well, this is nonsense. What is the advantage of doing this? But then I have to do a work in convincing them that, well, if you're not doing something as simple as this, how do you expect to do something when it's a little bit more complicated? For example, if you're doing a job interview and the guy doesn't have a good impression in you, this is not going to happen over time. But if you are practicing all the time, making friends, be more confident, this is going to be your second nature. You're going to present yourself more confident, not because you're forcing yourself, because you're doing this all the time. And this is why this exercise is becoming so important. Okay, so the students who report on that challenge end up having fun, also making some friends on the process, like I did myself. So that goes without saying that they did not think it was so easy to do. So at this point, I did remind them a quotation from Ralph Waldo Emerson that is applicable here. That which we persist in doing becomes easier to do, not that the nature of the thing has changed, but that our power to do has increased. Though this is very true. So everything that you keep persisting in doing, you get better, right? You get better, it just gets easier, it's becoming your second nature. Okay, this is the end of the slide presentation. Now I'm gonna show you the video that I make and put in UQ so the students could see me getting rejections. So let's see over the video here. I was going home, so I was kind of excited, getting a lot of yes, so I get more yeses going home. So this is outside. This is another picture that I was taking all the time, making a power posing position. That I was putting in my pocket, so I let it on. So while I was trying to ask people to take pictures with me, so I'm gonna show you some of the rejections that I got on that day. So let's go and see those videos, okay? Can I ask you a favor? I need to take a picture with strangers. Take a picture with me. Okay, that's all. I wanted to take a picture like this. I already did, the wall here, I wanted to take a picture like this, making a position like this. This is called power posing position. It demonstrates confidence. It demonstrates confidence. No. No? Why is that? Okay, let me show you. Let me open, increase here my camera can show you better, right? Okay. For example, when I did this experiment, I did like this. I took my phone here and I started recording and I put it in the pocket like this. So when I was talking to people, people didn't know that I was recording them. So this is why you did not see their faces, right? Because the phone was here in the pocket. So remember, I asked them, well, can you take a picture? And they said, no, I cannot. And then I asked, why you not taking a picture with me? So I did this with all the people because I learned, for example, if I ask why they are not taking the picture, they give me the reason why. And sometimes I was able to solve the problem. For example, I have the opportunity to ask some people who said no, and then I asked why, they explain why, and then I was saying, well, explaining my reason for doing this, and then, oh, it's okay, now I can do it. Sometimes they say no because they're not actually sure what you're going to do with the picture. So I end up understanding or learning that when people know what I'm doing, so if I explain that I'm a teacher, I can show maybe a card from the university, or maybe show us some other pictures that I did with somebody else in the university, and they get a little bit more trusting in me, and they say yes in the end. But not all people do that, of course. This is the part of the process that I was telling you about for example, in saying that when you're doing it more time, you're getting better at. So this is my presentation, and I hope you like it. And the thing is, people skills is a very important skill to have, and you can apply it in every part of your life. It become a better life because you have more friends, you have better connection with people, with your relatives, parents, sons, whatever. You understand people better, and this is going to improve your life. And this is my, for example, my background has nothing to do with people skills. I am an engineer. I like math, but I also learned that I could improve from this kind of knowledge, this kind of behavior. So I become a little bit fan. I read a lot of books, and also I'm sharing with this with my students, and now sharing here in this conference. This is a very important skill that I like to share, and then maybe you can look into it and benefit from it.